I recently saw a student expressing concern about being a so-called splitter when it comes to law school admissions, asking which law schools are splitter friendly. I thought this was kind of funny because it turns out that nearly every law school is splitter friendly. Why do I say this? Because the vast majority of law schools weigh LSAT scores more heavily than undergraduate GPAs in the law school admission process. What this means is that if your undergraduate GPA is below the median of a school to which you're applying, you can definitely make up for it with a relatively higher LSAT score. This would make you a so-called splitter. Low GPA numbers, high LSAT numbers, totally fine. Why do law schools weigh LSAT scores more heavily? A couple of reasons. One is that LSAT scores are more predictive of first-year law school grades than undergraduate GPAs are. Another reason is that your LSAT score is typically earned more recently than your undergraduate GPA was. So for example, if you were in college around the age of 20, that's when you earned your undergraduate GPA, but now you're applying to law school at the age of 25 or the age of 30 or 40 or beyond, you likely took the LSAT much more recently, and so it's more indicative of where you currently stand. So if you are a splitter or a hopeful splitter, meaning your undergraduate GPA is low and you're still aiming to achieve a top LSAT score, that's totally fine. Don't worry. Just take this as additional motivation to get the highest LSAT score possible. So if you're aiming for a T14 law school like Yale, for example, that has an undergraduate GPA median of 3.96 and an LSAT median of 175, what this means is that if your undergraduate GPA is a bit lower, say a 3.5 or a 3.7, if you were to achieve a 177 or 178 on the LSAT, that would, of course, more than make up for it. To be honest, of course, it's not all about the numbers. It's not entirely about the numbers, but the numbers are the biggest factor in the admissions process. Typically, it's going to be LSAT score is the biggest factor, then your undergraduate GPA, then everything else like your personal statement, diversity statement, optional essays, addenda, resume, letters of rec, an interview if you have one. All of those play a role, but law schools claiming they engage in holistic admissions isn't really true. It sounds nice, but if we look at the actual data, LSAT scores and GPAs are enormously predictive of your admissions chances. So if your undergraduate GPA is lower than you would like it to be, your LSAT score can more than make up for it. This shows that you are not a quitter. So as I love to say, splitters aren't quitters. You don't need to give up on your law school dreams just because your undergraduate GPA is lower than you'd like it to be. The LSAT score can make up for it. Now, for some additional motivation and a little dose of reality, I thought it might be instructive to look at what exactly are the LSAT score medians at the T14 law schools. Stanford's is a 173, Yale 175, UChicago 173, UPenn 172, Duke 170, Harvard 174, NYU 172, Columbia 173, Virginia 171, Northwestern 171, Berkeley 170, Michigan 171, Cornell 172, UCLA 170. So what this means is that you've just got to get an LSAT score of 170 or above, and you are in the running at a lot of these T14 law schools. A 170 LSAT score typically comes down to getting perfect or maybe -1 on logic games, then -2 or -3 on each of the other sections of the LSAT. So if you're watching this video now, hopefully you are, and you'll be able to take the LSAT before they remove the logic games section after the June 2024 LSAT. You still have multiple opportunities to take the LSAT before that change. I do recommend taking it with the games to maximize your odds of getting the highest LSAT score possible. I'll also run through T14 GPA medians to give you a sense of what those look like as well. Stanford 3.92, Yale 3.96, Chicago 3.91, UPenn 3.92, Duke 3.87, Harvard 3.93, NYU 3.9, Columbia 3.87, Virginia 3.94, Northwestern 3.89, Berkeley 3.87, Michigan 3.85, Cornell 3.9, UCLA 3.92. So as you could see, most of the T14 have GPA medians at or above 3.9. The simple reason is rampant grade inflation. As Kelly Testy over at LSAC said, GPAs are so inflated as to be virtually meaningless. I couldn't agree more. All the more reason to get the highest LSAT score possible if your GPA is lower than you would have liked it to be. If you were not one of the beneficiaries of rampant grade inflation, your LSAT score can make up for it. If you'd like my help achieving the highest LSAT score possible, getting that 170 plus, we'd love to help you out. At LSAT Unplugged, we offer live online classes via Zoom, on-demand video courses, small group coaching, and one-on-one coaching. Check out the links below this video to find out more and to book a call with me and my team. In the meantime, I wish you all the best and take care.